קודם גם בשם.
סבבה, תפרו לי בגד עם כיסים מילאו כיסאי וכוסים שמחה רבה אביב הגיע פסח בשמחה רבה אביב הגיע פסח שאול אשאל 4 קושיות אשתה 4 כוסות שמחה רבה אביב הגיע אביב הגיע פסח וחוז גדולה אמי תביא לאליהו הנביא שמחה רבה אביב הגיע פסח בשמחה רבה אביב הגיע פסח Cheddar and barbecue wavy and sour cream and onion equals...
תדעו לכם עולם יפה, פחות עצוב ממשהו ככה, ואנחנו שם הולכים עם שמש בכיסים, ומגגות הכוכבים, והזמן עובר בלי פחד, ואני הולך לפגוש אותה בגן העדן. תדעו לכם קצת אושר, כי הוא כל כך נדיר כאן, עיר מגניבה בתוך החושך, ושנינו בשמיכה, והיא מלטפת אותי ואומרת לי מחר יקרה מה שרצית, ואם לאט השתתפויות של עצר ושמחה. תדעו לכם באמצע יום יפה, שמיים עליכם, אהבה איתכם, כן ככה זה קרה, לפתע היא אמרה, אני עוד זוכר אותה, כמו בסערה, תדעו לכם מודים נופל, לתוך זאת ערה. תדעו לכם עולם פשוט, חדר ללילה, בית בגשם, וחוטפים מלאים בטות, ושנינו שיכורים, היא מתפלאת אני אמור, היא לוחשת וגועשת, תדעו לכם עוד הזדמנות, לחזור פתאום לנעורים. תתארו לכם את החיים זזים אחורה וקדימה, מה שחסר שמתמלא, מה שהיה פתאום ישנו, ואני מביט לתוך עיניה ונגנב בכוח פנימה. תתארו לכם אותנו מגשימים את כל החלומות. תתארו לכם באמצע יום יפה, שמיים עליכם, אהבה איתכם, כן ככה זה קרה, לפתע היא אמרה, אני עוד זוכר אותה, כמו בסערה. תתארו לכם מותי נופל לתוך זאת ערה. תתארו לכם עולם יפה, פחות עצוב ממשהו ככה, ואנחנו שם הולכים עם שמש בכיסים. תתארו לכם עולם יפה, עולם פשוט, תתארו לכם קצת אושר.
Okay, shalom lekulam v'chag sameach. Hi everyone, and happy Passover to all of us. Cheers. Cheers to anyone who has their glasses ready. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to our IAC Edge Happy Hour with our renowned chefs. We have Zook and Elior Balbul with us, who will be teaching us 2 recipes for Passover with some specialty tips and tricks. My name is Liat. Nice to meet you. I'm your host for today. I've been involved with IAC Edge since I moved to New York after living in Tel Aviv for many years. And for those of you less familiar, IAC is a coast-to-coast community of young professionals who are passionate about Israel and seek networking and professional opportunities. So we're very happy to host this event with all of you and celebrate the Chag. Happy Passover to all of us, staying safe and healthy at home so that next year we can all meet in our homes together, physically face-to-face, and to better days. So before we start, just a few housekeeping things. One, we of course hope you have your drinks ready because this is a happy hour after all. Please open your cameras as well so we can see your faces. And make sure you also use the chat box. So while we watch our chefs doing their thing, any questions that you guys have, we will be monitoring the chat box on the side and making sure we ask your questions to our chefs who can answer in real time. So please use the chat box and be interactive with us. That's what we're here for. And any other questions that you have, of course, feel free to reach out to us. So we can finally now meet our chefs for tonight. Let's start with Nir Zook. Do we see Nir? Hi Nir, how are you today? We know you're an award-winning chef. You opened multiple restaurants. You even wrote cookbooks, and of course you starred on TV. You were also elected by the Foreign Ministry of Israel as a featured chef in the book Face of Israel. So that's a lot that you have under your belt, and let us know how you're doing these days and what you'll be preparing for us today.
I'm having a good time in Old Jaffa at home with my husband and the dogs, cooking most of the day. I'm going to make a few simple recipes for Pesach. One is chopped liver, the other one is a very basic knedlach recipe, and 2 other highlights for Pesach dinner. Very quick and easy.
Got it. So chopped liver, knedlach recipes, and what was the last one?
Last one is going to be stuffed dates with cilantro.
Ooh, so we get some sweet after the meal. Sounds amazing. Great. Before we get to you, I also want to introduce our chef that will be preparing after you, Neil. So we have Elior here. Hi, Elior.
How are you?
Cheers. Chag Sameach.
Yeah.
So we know that you opened the first kosher modern Israeli restaurant in New York called Allenby, and it's actually in Crown Heights in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's right.
Amazing, but you're actually teaching us from Israel now, right?
Yeah, I'm teaching you today my one of my grandmother recipes called basically it's like stuffed vegetables. The original name is called mahshi. My recipes basically focus today on coronavirus situation. I'm gonna try to give everyone the option to be creative, to use what you have based on your ingredients, and hope you can enjoy it.
Amazing. Well, we'll see you right after Neil. So Neil, are you ready in your amazing kitchen? That looks like an awesome kitchen.
So please be focused. I already have the liver frying. As you can see, it's in the pan. And the trick is to go low temperature with a lot of sunflower oil. Don't worry about the oil. We'll take it out later. The oil just makes your life easy when you're going to make the chopped liver later and on the frying part. While the liver is frying, I'm going to start with the knedlach. So I have some boiling water, about a cup and a half, and the matzah flour waiting. 2 spoons of oil. Make sure you use sunflower oil or canola oil. Don't make the mistake of putting olive oil because it's going to add flavors that you don't want to have inside. some salt and pepper. You have to make sure you season well the water, because this is going to be, if you won't put enough salt and pepper, you won't have any flavor later. Tasty. Remember, you're going to add the flour, so the flavor needs to be stronger than you want.
I have a question, Neil. If we don't have sunflower oil, which other oil can we use?
Any vegetable oil that doesn't have strong flavor. Basically anything but olive oil. Okay. I'm mixing well the batch. This recipe, just make sure you need to make it 1 day in advance before you're going to cook it in your soup, okay? So at least 24 hours, otherwise you're going to need different recipe. So I'm going to let the batch cool, and then I'm going to add 2 eggs and let it chill for a night in the fridge. Then just roll it and throw it into the soup. Let's check our livers. Very important when making chopped liver, not to dry the liver. The liver has to be medium plus. It's almost ready. So I'm starting my preparation for the liver. In advance, I started by frying onion. There are 2 onions here, very low temperature, super low. I want the onion to caramelize. It's going to give some sweetness into the liver. I'm putting it on my cutting board. I have 3 eggs. I boiled them before. I'm going to peel them really quick. This is very old-fashioned way of making chopped liver. You can take the same recipe and use a food processor. The outcome will be very different. And for me, when I'm making traditional food for holidays, I like to use my hands because it gives me the feeling of putting my heart into the cooking. So of course, it will be different texture if using the food processor, but I would like to do something more rough. There's always the dream of the grandmother who made the food, at least in my family in Ukraine. So I'm trying to do it as closer to the origin as possible. So I guess my grandmother in Ukraine didn't have a food processor, so I will not use a food processor. Okay?
By the grandmother.
Huh?
Always have to go by the grandmother's rules.
So the liver is ready. As I told you, I put quite a lot of oil to make it easy in the pan. So I'm leaving the oil in the pan. I'm not going to put the oil inside my chopped liver. Of course, in a normal time, I would let it cool a little. I don't have to do it when it's so hot. And basically, the last part is chopping the liver. Maybe this is why it's called chopped liver, huh?
Mm-hmm.
While I'm chopping, a lot of black pepper. Smells good. Salt. Basically, it's almost ready. Now, in each family, depends how chopped would you like it. The most important is people has the tendency of doing the liver well done. When you do the liver well done, then it will be very, very, tough, the chopped liver, and it feels like choking. You want your chopped liver to be moist.
And for anyone who has any questions in the meantime, feel free to post them in the chat, and Nir is ready to answer your questions. And we also have the recipes for what Nir is making on the Facebook page, so don't worry, you'll get that accessible.
This is easy. There's nothing to ask because basically our chopped liver now only needs 2 things. Do you know the 2 things we need now?
Food processor?
Right? And we need some horseradish. Horseradish is the best companionship for chopped liver. Horseradish and maybe a pickle. So my chopped liver is ready for tomorrow. Thank you guys for keeping me company while I'm making tomorrow's dinner. This is our chopped liver. The base for the knedelach is still hot. So before I'm going to put in the eggs, I'm going to teach you a really nice trick for a salad. Also a very quick one. I bought half of romaine lettuce, already washed. Okay? I'm going to cut it into quarters. Okay, so my romaine is already washed. I'm drizzling olive oil on my romaine. Now, I can use a torch. I don't have to. I can put it for 1 second on an open fire on the stove. Just a touch of fire. That's it. Then I have some fresh horseradish. You can get it in any Whole Foods. If you want, I can also teach you how to do horseradish, how to do cray, the one with the beetroot. It's very, very easy. Some horseradish, a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon, of course, salt, and basically it's ready to be served. At home, I serve individually for each person a small glass with my horseradish salad, and basically you hold it with your hands.
Wow.
And you enjoy the beautiful horseradish lettuce salad. We can continue for another quick recipe. Just make sure, if you want to do this lettuce, that you use only super crispy lettuce. So all the new kinds of Celanova and soft lettuces will not work. It has to be very crispy. It could be, there's now the baby jam that works well, the heart of romaine works well, all of those.
And Neil, I have a question. How do you recommend to keep this lettuce fresh in the fridge for a few days?
Normally it comes in a seal that keeps it fresh. So the only times that you need, to keep it is after you make it. It's not a salad that you can make in advance. You can pre-cut it in advance, but you have to torch it and season it right before dinner.
Right, but now during Corona, when we don't have access to fresh produce, how should we keep the spinach and lettuce in our fridge if we wrap it with a paper towel, maybe?
So I found the most efficient thing for me to keep it for a long time. I don't wash it. I wash it only on use, and then I put a paper towel and into a nylon bag into the fridge. That's what normally would keep it the longest. And the spinach, normally spinach I used to cook and not to eat fresh. So it's easier for me to pre-cook it and freeze it already cooked.
Interesting.
Okay. So I have some Majul dates here. Those specifically were frozen because it's less dry, but you can use the dry. Make sure you use Majul, the sweeter kind. It's very easy to get these days anywhere. So I'm just taking out the pits. This is a beautiful Passover appetizer. It's very, very surprising. You're going to see in a minute what I'm going to do. So I'm pitting the dates. Ready? Now I'm taking fresh cilantro. I'm going to chop the cilantro. I have some long hot Italian pepper here, but basically any kind of fresh chili that is not too spicy will do for this recipe. I'm mixing the chili and the cilantro. I season with a little bit of lemon juice, salt, olive oil, and freshly ground pepper. Super important if you can use freshly ground pepper. The taste is very different from the ones that you buy already grounded because of the etheric oils inside. Now I'm just taking the dates and stuffing them with the cilantro and closing. So every bite we have the sweetness from the date, the spiciness from the chili, the sourness from the lemon. This would be a great appetizer for our dinner. Of course, less for kids. I assume kids will like it less, but then they don't have cocktails before dinner, so there's no problem. Okay. So our dates are ready. Super easy, super exciting. And definitely gives a different vibe for the holiday spirit. Okay, we're going back to our matzo balls. So our batch is already chilled enough. Now, one egg at a time, I'm adding.
Hey Neil, before we go on to the matzah, can you tell us what would you suggest it as an alternative for cilantro? Because some people really don't like cilantro.
I think a combination of parsley and leaves of celery would do very well. But cilantro and dates is a very exciting combination.
Okay, so either celery chopped finely instead of the cilantro?
Celery and parsley together.
Okay.
So much like in cakes, I would add each time one egg and I mix it until it's already blended inside very well. And then I'm adding the second egg. Now again, I remind you, this is a recipe that you have to make a day in advance. If you want a recipe for the same day knedela, it would be different than this. So basically, this would go now for an overnight in the fridge, and then I would make balls and throw them into the soup. Now, when you host a lot of people, many mothers, what they do, they boil water, they cook knedela in water, and then serve it in the soup. I recommend, if possible, to cook it inside the soup, because knedela observes water inside. So if it will observe water, it will have a watery taste. If it will observe chicken soup, it will have a much flavorful taste for the balls. But I don't know, I was unable to convince my own mother. I know about other people. So basically, my batch is ready. It's going to go for the fridge now for a night. By the way, you can make it up to 3 days in advance if you want. The last trick I want to teach you about the knedela is when you want to make the balls, you want to wash your hands with water and use wet hands. Otherwise, it will stick to your hands. So now just make balls, whatever size you like. It's the one. Whatever size you like, and just throw them into the boiling soup. Not too hot, of course. It's ready to go and be boiled in the soup. Another nice recipe, and the last one for tonight. I hope you still have patience, huh?
We're with you.
Okay, let me clean my board for a second.
Let's just pause and see if the audience has any questions to ask Neil. You guys can put it in the chat box.
What do you say? Should I be offended that nobody has questions, or should I be happy that nobody has
No,
questions?
I think I see someone with a question, but they're typing.
The question is regarding what?
Regarding your cooking, the recipe. And do you do delivery? Someone asks.
Deliveries in Old Jaffa, where I would go out 100 meters from the house. So my house is to the Jaffa port. So
only for Jaffa Port residences.
okay, so I have some salads here that I pre-washed. Very, very crispy, very easy to get anywhere. That's why I decided to make a nice salad. My main course tomorrow is going to be leg of lamb. So I think the celery salad will accompany any heavy meat dish, okay? So I start by slicing the celery.
And Nir, if someone doesn't have a blowtorch for the romaine lettuce, they can just put it on an open fire, correct?
Just, you know, what I would do, I would take tongs and I would hold the lettuce and just very quickly go over the open fire. I don't really want to cook it. I just want to get, you know, the quick flavor from the fire. And even if you won't do anything and just serve it like this, so fresh, the spiciness of the horseradish will be a big change than our traditional vinaigrette, boring green salad we normally serve for Pesach. Okay, so I slice the celery.
So this is just chopped celery now, right?
So far, we have just chopped celery inside. It's not going to go much further from this. I'm adding a cucumber, chopped into cubes. Fresh pepper. Salt. Olive oil. Second. Now, normally we put acidity, but we're going to do a trick. We're not going to put any acidity inside, only some
Hold on, Nir. I'm gonna pause you for 1 second. We need to get back to your screen. Give us 1 minute. Okay, we're good.
I'm good to go.
You're perfect.
Okay, so some orange or lemon zest, because normally I'd like in Pesach to make this salad a few hours before dinner, and I would like it to stay crunchy. So I'm not putting any acidity. The zest of the lemon will give our mind the tanginess, but physically it's going to stay super crunchy because we didn't add any acid inside.
So this is a celery, cucumber, lemon zesty salad.
Exactly. And it's very basic because normally on Seder we eat too much, and when we get to the main course, we can't eat anymore. So when you have a bite of meat, you have a super fresh, crunchy celery and lemon zest.
Can you repeat the dressing that you made for this?
There was only olive oil, salt, pepper, and lemon zest. That's it. Basically nothing. And the nice thing is, I can make it few hours before, and it will not change because I didn't lemon or vinegar or anything to it. So everything will stay super fresh and crunchy. And look how beautiful.
So you can keep it in the fridge and it won't get soggy.
Exactly. That's it.
Wow, amazing. Let's see if anyone has any questions before we take another round of cheers. Does anyone have any questions for Neil from these amazing dishes? Give it one few more seconds. Okay, well, Neil, thank you. You did an amazing job. Thanks for teaching us. L'chaim, Chag Sameach. Thank you so much. And we will move on to Elior. Thank you, Neil. Stay with us. Okay, let's get Elior now. Elior, can you hear us?
How are you? Yeah, I'm hearing everything.
Great. How are you? Chag Sameach, L'chaim. Cheers.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So tell us what you'll be teaching us today.
So today I'm going to teach you traditional grandmother recipe called mahshi. Mahshi, the meaning is stuffed, and today we're going to do some stuffed vegetables. I want to do the recipe focus on the coronavirus situation that everyone is cannot find what they are looking for, and we all have this problem if it's in Israel or if it's in New York or almost all over the world. So today I took some vegetables that I have in the fridge. If it's cabbage, I have fennel, I have Swiss chard, and onions. So first, what we're gonna need to have is a boiling pot with hot water. You need to make sure it's gonna be high and almost full with water, but not on like full. To leave it like a 70% full with water. Why? Because the moment that you're gonna put the cabbage, all the water gonna go up. Also, make sure you're putting a little bit salt inside the water. Why? Salt makes the boiling to be a little almost 100%. It's gonna keep it much more hot than not putting any salt. So we're gonna start with the cabbage. The way to blanch cabbage and to make sure we're gonna have whole pieces of the cabbage is just to we're gonna come near to the camera that everyone gonna see. Here you have the center of the cabbage. What we need to make sure is to go around it and
let's just move the camera down a bit so we can see.
Yeah, I'm gonna give everyone a look here to give the knife all over the on the center of the cabbage to make sure to try to put the knife as much that you can inside. Be careful not to cut your hand when you're doing it. I'm gonna give you the final result.
So we're trying to take the stem out of the cabbage for what?
Exactly. When we're gonna blanch it, we can inside the water we can easily peel it without break it in the end, because we want to stuff it. We want to have as much as we can big pieces. As you see, I took, and this
Beautiful.
is what I take it outside. The cabbage you put in a boiling water. I can say for 15 minutes. Every few seconds, you're gonna see one layer going out, and then you're gonna put it out from the pot to let it cool. Really good tip is to use ice water. It's gonna make the cabbage to be cool very fast and not cook too much, because we're gonna continue cooking it. In the end, you're gonna have the cabbage gonna peel to those pieces. In the tip of the cabbage, you have like a thin layer. You wanna take it out. I hope everyone can see it.
We can see that, but we do have a question before you continue. How do you make the cabbage not separate? How do you avoid it from separating and falling apart while it's cooking?
How do I avoid it? I don't want to avoid it. I want to separate it. I want to have to separate the cabbage to have pieces that I can stuff it.
Okay.
So this is why we blanch it inside the pot, and this is why we want it to be separated, that we're going to have an individual pot that we can stuff it in the end.
Right. I think the question is why, when it's stuffed, how do you make sure it's sturdy enough to hold what it's holding and not fall apart?
This is why I said every 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, you take one layer out, direct to ice water.
So it has to be like al dente, kind of like pasta.
Exactly. This is how we can keep the cabbage not to break while we cook it and while we stuff it.
Okay.
So after I blanch it and I separate it and put it in ice water, I'm trying to get from the cabbage like a square that's going to be easy to stuff. I will say I'm using all the leftover, even the leftover that I cut from the cabbage from the side. I'm putting it on the side. Later on, I will tell you what I'm going to do with it. This is going to be our base for the sauce for the base for the stuff vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
So with the cabbage that I opened, I wanna fill it up with the meat that soon we're gonna do the stuffing. I'm gonna show you the what we're gonna stuff inside. I'm using ground meat. You can use ground chicken. You can use ground fish. It's your choice. Lamb, beef, whatever you want. There's no a recipe that says you can allow to use other ingredients.
But
So
what would you recommend is the best ground
I
meat?
recommend beef or lamb. But it depends what do you like in the end. So we have the beef. I'm using a little bit of rice inside. We're gonna add chopped parsley, matzah crumble. If you don't have matzah crumble that you buy, you can take some dry matzah, put it in a food processor to blend it. And then the reason that I'm using matzah is to I wanna get the stuffing a little bit moist. That's gonna be softy and not hard meat inside my vegetables. I want it to be like a fully bite.
Mm-hmm. And
So
this is a reminder to anyone who just joined. You'll have the recipes and the ingredients list on the IAC Edge Facebook page, so you can refer to that later.
And for this, I'm gonna add egg white, one egg white. I'm not using the egg yolk because I don't want it to have too much strong flavor of egg inside my meat. Season it with salt, a little bit black pepper. And of course, olive oil.
So tell us again what's in this bowl. We had the parsley.
Parsley, we have rice. You can use any type of rice, jasmine, parsley, whatever you have. We have the matzah crumble,
Mm-hmm.
and salt, one egg white, and black pepper, and a little bit
And
olive.
we have a question from the audience if the rice is pre-cooked or raw.
No, raw. Everything here is raw.
Interesting. I would assume it was pre-cooked. Okay, good to know.
If you want to short the cooking time, you can cook the rice before a little bit.
And then just show us how it looks in the bowl when you're done.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. It's going to be whole. What I'm going to mix, I also going to use for my stew tonight some phenols that I already blanched. Also, I'm going to show you how to treat them. Same like the onion and same like the Swiss chard. Basically, all the vegetables that I'm going to use, they are blanched. So you can use the same pot that you blanched the cabbage. You can use for the fennel. You can use for the onion, and same like for the Swiss chard. But each one of them is a different time to blanch. I finished to mix my meat, and it's looking like this.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna go quickly with the fennel and the onion. So fennel, I'm blanching, and it is whole, like 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, boiling water. Then move it to ice water. After I finish to blanch it, I'm sorry that I can't show you guys everything because I'm using a computer and I'm by myself here. So I'm trying my best here.
It's looking great so far.
So the fennel, after I blanch it for 5 minutes on putting it in ice water, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut the root that's gonna be easy to spread. Because if you're gonna try to take layer, you see that the fennel goes with layer here and then the layer going under the first layer. If you don't gonna cut the root from here, that's gonna help you to separate the fennel easily. It's gonna break, and then there's no point. So after I blanch the fennel, my result that, as you see, I have pieces that I can blend easy to stuff it. That's gonna go inside my stew, and I hope you guys gonna see it. I will try. You're gonna see how I'm stuffing everything. I'm gonna start from the cabbage. I don't like the vegetables is like too stuffed because I put rice inside it. So
okay, we may need you to tilt the camera so we can see what you're doing just a little bit.
I will try.
Perfect. 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 Thank you.
I'll try to get even closer.
So right now you're stuffing the cabbage leaves that
right
we.
now I'm stuffing the cabbage. As you see, I'm always leaving like one finger when from the edge, from the both edge. And I'm gonna roll it and tie it.
Like sushi.
Exactly like sushi. And there's few techniques to stuff cabbage. One of them is just to give it like a thin roll and long, and the other one you can do it. I will show you the other technique.
How did your grandma do it?
I like the thin one. The other technique is if you don't want it to be long and thin, you can fold the edge before you roll it, like you're doing egg roll, and just roll it. And
how did your grandma do it?
Always make sure you tie it. I rather to have thin and long, and I will explain you why after I will finish to roll everything. While I'm rolling, you can free to ask me whatever you want, whatever you think. If you're doing well in the coronavirus.
Well, we have some vegetarians in the crowd interested to know what substitutions you'd recommend.
What substitutions I recommend? First, you can use, instead of meat, you can use roasted eggplant, you can use roasted mushroom, you can use some roasted cauliflower. You can to dice it a little bit and to use it. There's a lot of options to use instead of meat.
And do the cabbage leaves naturally stick when you're done rolling them?
On the pan?
No, when you're done rolling them, do they fall apart easily or do you see that they stick well?
No, as you see, they stick well. See? They're not
Okay.
gonna separate nothing. I always make sure when I'm roll it, I really tight it hard. Because the meat, the meat is a little bit sticky. So that's what makes everything really tight and not falling apart. So when you're doing stuffed vegetables, before you cook it, you always need to make sure when you put under everything, you're putting some something gonna separate the vegetables from the pot. Because if we don't gonna do it, what's gonna happen? Our stuffed vegetable is gonna stuck on the bottom, and you're gonna try to lift it, and it's gonna break apart.
Mm-hmm.
I already cut tomato. It's like a half an inch, half a finger size of sliced tomato to make sure you fill the pot, and also you're using like a flat top that's not too high. Why? You wanna cook everything on the same time cook, and everything gonna be cooked evenly.
Do you have other suggestions if we don't have tomatoes for the base?
You can use squash, you can use eggplant, you can use each vegetable that can be sliced nice and not gonna also tomato potato you can use.
Do you put oil on the bottom of that layer?
No, I'm not putting oil on the bottom because my when I'm gonna make the sauce for the stuffing vegetables, I'm gonna add some oil. So I don't want to put too much oil to my stew. I'm gonna finish with the tomato. Then I'm gonna start to organize my stuffed vegetables.
And if anyone has any questions in the meantime, feel free to write them in the chat box.
I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna putting everything.
Can you tell us again how you named this dish, the fancy name for it?
The name is mahshi. Mahshi, the meaning of mahshi is in Arabic. The meaning of mahshi is stuffed. So you can do, the reason that I chose for this recipe is because you can use it in a lot of vegetables that you can stuff. If it's tomatoes, or if it's peppers, or if it's cabbage, or fennel, or squash, or eggplant. So probably you have some of those ingredients inside in your house that you can use it, and also it's really have great flavor for Pesach, and it's like for to make it to the center of the table for all the families and friends. So this is how I stuff the fennel. I put like a small piece for my meat, and I just roll it like this. Very simple. Any other questions?
Not yet. Everything's very understandable. So you're
Can you
just
guys hear me?
you're just stuffing cabbage and fennel right now, right?
Yeah. Soon I'm gonna show you the onion and the Swiss chard that I didn't explain how to blanch. I will quick going into it to explain how I blanch it. It's really easy and fast. There is two pieces of the Swiss chard, the green part and the white part. We wanna separate them. We are stuffing, of course, the green part of the Swiss chard. The Swiss chard, we're gonna blanch it for no more than 10 seconds. Because if we're gonna press it, it's gonna rip out inside the water when we're gonna try to take it out. This is our Swiss chard. Let me
And
just.
how do you prep it? Do you also put it in water?
Yeah, I'm blanching it for 10 seconds.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
So the Swiss chard, is it mangold?
Yes, exactly.
Because in the supermarket there are so many different chards and it's so confusing.
Yeah, there is the Swiss chard is the mango. Swiss chard, this one. This is the mango. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a knife, going easily, really near to the white part. And this is what I'm gonna get after I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna blanch it like really quick for 10 seconds, no more than 10 seconds. And voila, this is how we got after I put it in ice water. I wanna make it fast and not to make everything falling asleep here. So as you see, I got two pieces from the Swiss chard because we cut in the middle of the white part. It's not going to be even. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put one layer, one half, and then I'm going to put the other half under it. Why? Because when I'm going to roll it, it's going to be a full pieces. Let me know if everyone understands it.
Right now, no questions, so it seems like they do.
This is how you do a leg Geffen also?
Almost. The leg Geffen is a little bit different. So while we're stuffing the vegetables, I'm going to put a hot pan to start to make our sauce. Always when I'm stuffing the vegetable, I want to keep like one finger.
And meanwhile, is your pot with boiling water now?
No, the boiling water is out. All my vegetables are blanched already.
Mm-hmm. But right now, the pot that you're using, is that on a low fire?
What I'm using now is a pan. It's a pan to make the sauce.
Mm-hmm. And the vegetables, do you have that on?
No, the vegetable is not on. They're not on. They're sitting. I'm gonna show you this one like in a second. So we're gonna finish to stuff everything. I'm gonna show you the final result with the vegetables.
Yeah, we have about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, so this is.
No pressure though.
This is the vegetables pot that's sitting under the tomato.
Wow.
I try to put everything really near to each other. That when they're gonna cook, it's not gonna open.
Looks beautiful. Oh, they become more like swollen as they get heated.
Yeah, because we have rice inside it. The rice gonna pop up. So we're gonna make fast the sauce. Now you can see me better. As I said, I'm gonna use everything, all the leftover that I have from the Swiss chard and the cabbage. So I'm heating it in a pan. I put like half a cup of olive oil. I have like six to seven garlic cloves, it depends on the size, with one hot pepper, green pepper. I have all the leftover from the blanched cabbage that I sliced really thin, with all the white part from the Swiss chard, also sliced very thin. A good tip for it is when you slice it, just make sure you have like a small bowl with a little bit cold water and lemon juice that is not gonna make black easily.
Mm.
Gonna keep white and fresh and nice. This is how you can keep it also in the fridge. If you have too much and you don't want to use it everything, you can keep it for 2 days easily. So I'm gonna start with my garlic and hot pepper. Always when I'm cooking, I'm putting the spices before I'm putting my, first I'll always start from garlic and hot pepper, then I'm put the spices. Why? Because the spices get maximum flavor and they open really nice when the pan is hot and with oil and it's not too full.
Mm-hmm.
So I put 1.5 tablespoon of sweet paprika, 1 teaspoon of ground chili, salt, black pepper, 1 tablespoon, I wish you can be here and smell all the spices. Then first I'm going to use the Swiss chard, the white part. Add the cabbage, the sliced cabbage.
And Elior, when people talk about olive oil and it burning on a high temperature, can you demystify that for us?
Yeah, olive oil is burning fast on a high temperature, but I didn't get the pan so hot that the olive oil is gonna burn easily. I choose to use olive oil in this recipe because I want the flavor of the olive oil inside my my stew.
Okay.
The reason people don't use olive oil to fry things, it's a good reason because olive oil is burning really fast, and you don't want burning flavor inside your food. So when you're using, you wanna fry something or to cook something with a really hot pan, you rather not to use olive oil, and you can use canola oil, sunflower oil. That
Yep, that's that as well.
Okay, my stew is almost ready. I'm gonna use 1 lemon juice, like 1 lemon squeeze inside. And I'm gonna take water. I put like 2.5 cups of water. You need to make sure when you're pouring the sauce inside the vegetables, you need to make sure the vegetable is gonna be covered with liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want the rice gonna be cooked when you serve it. After my sauce is ready, I'm pouring everything on top. So this is how it's supposed to look like. Wait, I will take the camera down.
Yes, we
These two you're gonna cook for 1 hour on a small. Let it boil. Then let take the flame to really low heat. With cover, you cook it for 1 hour. You can choose to cook it or on a flame or inside the oven. The oven you can cook it for 350 Fahrenheit for 1.5 hours. Make sure you see the liquid, it's almost covering all the vegetables. It's going to cook the rice. And before you serve, just take the oven to really, really high temperature, cooking it with no cover to make all the vegetables a nice color,
part on broil.
and serve it.
That's amazing. Wow. We can only imagine the smells.
Yeah, the smell here is crazy.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
Of course, I hope you enjoy it.
We did. And make sure you send us the recipe so we can post it for everyone.
Yeah, of course, I will.
Great. Great. So we are right on time. At this point, we want to thank you all for joining us, and we have many more events coming up. Just look at the Facebook page and you'll see everything there. One of them is a party by DJ Grace this Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Join us and to better days, to health and happiness, and Chag Sameach to everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
L'chaim.
מילאו כיסאי וכוסים שמחה רבה, שמחה רבה. אבל הגיע פסח בשמחה רבה, שמחה רבה. אבל הגיע פסח בשאול אשאל, שאול אשאל 4 קושיות שעתו, שעתו אשתה 4 כוסות, שמחה רבה, שמחה רבה. אבל הגיע פסח בשמחה רבה, שמחה רבה. אבל הגיע פסח